Hey guys, I'm back with another preview and review of the Kiwis versus Kangaroos Pacific Championships final coming up. The last game of the season, pretty much. Although the PNG Kumus versus the Bully Bati on Sunday, but last game for any type of professional game in New Zealand, and it's been a long season, and I understand that for a lot of fans, it finished with the Warriors, and those of us hardcore grassroots leagueies that still support the Kiwis. It's Saturday here in Hamilton. I'm here in Hamilton, and I suppose a little background. I went out to the fan day yesterday. It was awesome. I think there was maybe ended up being about 400 or 500 people there in Centre Place in Hamilton. Not a big place, not a big area where a lot of eyeballs can come and see, but the hardcore fans were there, and great to see the grassroots people coming out supporting, and all the Kiwis were there. I thought they were just absolutely awesome. I was expecting, like, how they usually send out 5 guys or whatever. Nah, the whole team rocked up, took photos, signed everything, and I think the fans really appreciate it. So, shout out to the Kiwis, and especially to the grassroots people here in New Zealand. That in all my opinion, they don't get enough credit. I know I'm a Warriors supporter. I always have been. I love the Warriors up the wires, but sometimes our grassroots people get forgotten, and the Kiwis play a big part in that. It's almost like they've been in a forgotten identity in New Zealand, but the Kiwis play a part in connecting with that grassroots, just like the Warriors do in a way, but on another level. The Kiwis connect all of our whānau. We see Joseph Manu and his whānau there from Tokoroa came up. That's another connective, what should we call it, a rope binding us to the game of rugby league. And so it's always important for me personally, that the Kiwis do well. Yeah, over the years we've struggled, and I suppose with the NRL now even longer season, it feels as though, why are we playing international tests? But we have to. We owe it to the people who run the game from a voluntary basis here in New Zealand, and don't get much credit. And I hopefully that they get an opportunity to see their national team. And so I'm excited. But look, let's go back to last week in Melbourne. I watched the tape again. I think there's some clear elements in terms of you'd probably say Ben Hunt, Harry Grant are a real difference maker, especially Harry Grant, his work out of dummy half. I honestly feel if we had Jeremy Marshall-King and Brandon Smith, that balance, I think, would have negated a lot of that. But you can see straight away, and it's a typical Aussie thing, and I mentioned it in the preview last week, was that they're just so quick at getting into their shapes. They're so quick at getting into their structures. They know exactly what they want to do. They know what parts of the field they want to hit. It's not, it's seamless. And then always, this is a typical Kiwis thing, whereas on the other side, we're still unstructured. We're still looking for, we're one-out hit-outs. The halves haven't really got a handle on how to get this team around the park. We've got the talent there, there's no doubt about it, and we can match it physically. It's just that at times our halves and spine players aren't really linking up well enough. There were patches that were really good, and I know people said that Hamiso, owned Joey Manu, but I honestly think that Joey Manu could have got some more touches, but better ball. And I think there was just definitely moments where the unstructuredness, and it seems as though there's a lack of direction of the ship. You know what I mean? And it just needed someone to redirect it. And I know Sean would have been great in the situation, setting up his outsides. But I just think Hughes and Brown and Chance, if they can get a bit more focused, and especially Foreign as well, all four of those guys get a bit more focused and targeting parts of the field and being patient, setting up your structures. Because, look, we did score 3 tries. And when we had ball on the goal line, it wasn't like it was hard for us to score. It's just that we continued to struggle in the middle parts of the field. But I feel our spine could give us a bit more. I thought Tomoko didn't get enough ball. I thought, especially, I personally felt Dylan Brown probably had a really bad game in the Kiwis jersey in terms of influence, and I think that side of Tomoko is not getting enough touches. That Tomoko and Mulatalo combination should be deadly based on speed and power, and so I'd like to see that side get a bit more. The back row I thought was a little bit poor. Nikora and Papali'i. I think Papali'i doesn't seem to be giving as much as we need him to. But at the same time, I feel they were starved of ball and good ball. So it's just a matter of getting our forwards right, getting our go forward right. Now it's a different task against Tino and Payne Haas, but if we can get some order around the middle, then I think we'll be okay. But it comes back to little things, and I think Harry Grant was the separator. He just opened that game right up, and in fact, I got to give a lot of credit to Mel and the stuff. They made changes that were really pivotal. So when we scored our try, I think it was around the 20th minute, straight off Flegler, Travojevic off, Grant, Carrigan, and Collins on. And it just made a big impact. It got them right back into their shape and their go forward. And then Collins got that try. And then he got another try. So it just, those interchanges, he preempted a lot of what the Kiwis were doing. And then we had situation where our interchanges just felt a little bit off. You could see Nelson waiting on the sideline too long. Leota came off a little too early for mine, and then Harris probably stayed on a little bit too long. And then Neem and Leo Thompson, if you looked at Neem's the minutes, he only played 10 minutes, which is insane. That's not the truly maximizing him effectively. And then Leo, that combination of Neem and Thompson, yeah, it just wasn't the best use of them. And then I thought Tapine went off, probably needed to play longer. I think I would expect him to play close to 70. We just needed someone a bit more in the middle in periods there, and it felt as though Madge got his selections a little bit wrong in my eyes. Now, Foreign, I thought, yeah, he did a pretty good job, and I think he's doing a really decent job. I wonder if we could get away with starting a Fatamanu Brown, but you kind of need Foreign's influence from the get-go. But, that is one area. Hooker is just a really area that we are really short on. And it's kind of, limiting us in ways. But there's patches there where I think Foreign gets at first receiver. So it's almost like if this team can get 2 or 3 games under its belt, it could probably figure out its attacking shape. I feel as though this team has potential. Like the Manu roving role is quite good. I feel like Foreign getting in at first receiver, acting as a half almost at times is good. But the ball is getting jammed up at Hughes and Brown a lot. It's not getting out to the outsides effectively enough. But there was a patch there. I think it was 18-12 at halftime. I can't remember when it was, but there were moments where we could have scored. The Jermaine Osako try was, I thought he should have scored that, but there were opportunities where we could have. I'm just saying that this Kangaroos team isn't unbeatable. It's just that we got to execute what we do better, and hopefully they can. Now coming up this week against the Tino Whaasul Maleawi, Payne Haas fresh. I thought it was smart by Mel to get them freshened up in Martin, and you got to honestly say that squad will be ready to go and probably give them the edge. I would say. I thought Murray was great. I even thought little what's his name was pretty good. The North Queensland player, I forget his name, but he was good last week as well. So, and Collins and Carrigan off the bench. You got to try and find a way to nullify that. I think Madge has to be smarter about his interchange. I would pretty much mirror what they would do. If Collins and Carrigan come up, I'm pretty much bringing on Nas and probably Leo Thompson to try and counteract that. You got to be a bit more preemptive. I thought with Madge, he kind of lost our way a little bit, but hopefully they can sort it out. I think numbers wise, we just got into a bit of a bad pattern. I think we got a little bit loose with the ball. Like Joey Manu's carries, Joey has that kind of error in his game at the moment. Would like him to be a little bit tighter. But I think we ultimately just, our halves didn't seize the moment at right times. I don't think we kind of let ourselves down. And this is always typical of Kiwis' performances that, yes, Australia are great, but they're not unbeatable. It's not like, but a lot of the time we let ourselves down when we have our opportunities. So I thought the back five were decent. Like I thought Militalo did his absolute best, other than getting beat on the Holmes one. That's difficult. And Holmes is he's a great player, man. Whenever I see him, he's probably one of those players I hate seeing in a Kangaroos jersey because I know that he has such a big influence on winning, and his execution is just so professional at that level, Origin and above. But I thought, Osako played a great game. Yeah, but I'd be trying to get a better use of Leota and Fisher Harris as a combo. I think Madge hasn't really grasped how to use them effectively yet, and they should be finishing off games together. They should be going on off, kind of how Penrith use them. Both go off at the same time. They both come back on. But I hope they can sort that out. But I'm hoping for the home factor. For me, I'm hoping that we can come home here in Hamilton. And I know at the moment the ticket sales aren't the greatest, but there's nothing like playing at home. And hopefully all the fans get behind the boys. This is the last game of the year, but for us, if for the Kiwis and for the brand and for the country, if we got this Pacific Championship and if we got another win against the Kangaroos, moving forward, it helps to build and establish that brand. And um, you know, the Kangaroos over the years have always had that over us, but we need to start to get a bit of parity. We need to start winning, 50% of our games against them or something similar, just to be able to continue to compete and prepare for the future. But I'm hoping here in Hamilton that we can get behind the boys. I know I will be. I'll be out there, and I know a few others will be, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a massive crowd. But let's just hope that we can get behind the boys and celebrate a Kiwis victory. But it'll be a tight one. I think the home factor, and I think the boys will be a bit more settled in their game plan. The second game against the Kangaroos, it always helps them to try to just settle in, get used to the pace with which the Kangaroos play, get an idea of their attack, and then start to really just sort of settle in. And I think it might be a close game, this one, but let's see what happens. Up the Kiwis, and we'll catch you guys later. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed that, and continue to provide some content for you.